Welcome back, everybody, to the Innovative Agency. So glad to be back here with you. It's Sharon Toerek, and I'm really excited about today's conversation for a couple of reasons. Um, I think one thing that agency owners and leaders talk about and think about a lot, based on my conversations with them, is growth and what that means. And I think that growth means so many different things to a leader, and to a business, and sometimes it's client growth, sometimes it's personal growth, sometimes, but the yardstick that most of you seem to use is how are we doing as an agency, with our clients? How are we growing our business with them? How are we getting new business? And so that'll be one thing we talk about, but I think it's important to remember that you can measure growth in lots of different ways. And I'm so excited to welcome today's guest. Dominic Tremblay is a co-founder of Tux, which is a creative agency that is international, headquarters in Los Angeles, but also roots in Montreal, Canada, correct?
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So let's start with maybe some of the low-hanging fruit. It's been a challenging couple of years for independent agencies in a lot of ways, but some are really doing well, and Tux is in that camp. As a matter of fact, you are one of Adweek's fastest growing agencies in 2025. And so I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, what do you think you're doing well, differently, right, to perform so strongly right now when the environment feels really challenging for agencies?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know that we're doing it, that great. I think I'm doing very intuitively in terms of try to listen to where are the opportunities in front of us. And I
Mhm.
think to just not be afraid of taking some risks. I mean, I'm obviously very entrepreneurial as, I started a business, but so I feel like in for us in the last couple of years, there's been a couple of opportunities. Then we were like discussing of jumping on it, and just we took the leap. I mean, opening an LA office that we were from Montreal. The normal path would have probably been New York because it was very close by, and a lot of our clients were already in New York. But we felt like we could improve our coverage of the West Coast of the U.S. this way, and also felt like LA it's kind of been a bit under the underdog of agencies in the last 5 years because it's been taking care of only the big mammoth agencies, but in the independent world, I think there's so much opportunity. There's very few, I feel, strong independent agencies on the in LA versus the size of the building. And I
Mhm.
also feel like the LA is having, California is having a ride right now that's super interesting with the Olympics, with the sports, with new brands, with a lot of VCs moving into LA from San Francisco money. So I think it's a super interesting world to be in. So we just felt like there's a good opportunity there. We also kind of jumped on like the 3D CGI kind of moment the last 5 years, and we'll say, you know what, let's invest in a farm, let's build our own back end, and let's make sure we are ready to go. And at that moment, a lot of CPG brands, including the Converse of this world or some of the fragrance world, were starting to really look at other ways to show products. And the 3D and CGI became a super interesting way of like improving content and making it more fun, dynamic, more visible online. And I think we
Mhm.
just kind of like doubled down on that really fast, and that paid off. So I think it's a couple of, bet, but and also I would say also the third one for us is back in the days, we're very strong. I'm an ex-L'Oreal beauty brand, right? So have a very strong network in that area. My co-founder Ludwig was in fashion, so he has a very good retail and fashion. And
Mhm.
then so we were very highly, I would say, invested in fashion and beauty at that moment. So we were like worried a bit of concentration in categories. And then we made a point in 2017, I think, 10 years ago, to really diversify. So we actually branched into pharma, we branched into nutrition, to food, to other categories. Thank God we did. When COVID hit, fashion, beauty
Mhm.
went down the toilet, but pharma and food went up really fast. So it kind of helped us navigate kind of these
Right.
situations. So I believe in that too. So that also has helped us in the last couple of years because some categories were like slower, but the other ones were really dynamic. Right now, beauty is really strong, CPG is really strong. We're very strong in supplements, wellness, that kind of jazz. There's a lot of new brands and important business there. So I think it's a yeah, it's a mix of different things of like the correct moves, but
Mm.
that's all it is, right? You make decisions.
Yeah. Well, and that's actually a good segue into something I wanted to ask you to follow up on what you just said, which is how has your decision-making criteria evolved over the last few years I mean, how do you decide differently today than you might have 5 years ago about where to make your bets as the co-owner of the agency and when to invest, when to double down, maybe when to pull back?
Good question. I don't think I have a magic formula or a crystal ball. I think I still play a lot by intuition, I think. But but I also feel like I think it's important as an entrepreneur of an agency or any business that grows over time. Like we're 16 years old.
Hmm.
And I cannot make decisions today the same way as I was making it, 10 years ago. So I think that it's a different kind of scale. Like right now, we're in discussions with clients, and we're winning clients that are much bigger, obviously in
Hmm.
scope than they were for us 5 years ago or 10 years ago, even. Therefore, it's not the same kind of decisions. So it's not the same kind of strategy in place. Like for example, now we have invested in a chief growth officer. We have a very strong new business kind of like support system internally. We have very strong social, very strong cases. The website is very, we've invested a lot of money in it, like to make it very strong because that's
Yeah.
the nature of the business today. It wasn't as big 15 years ago. You could go with, word of mouth and people know each other, network, that's fine. But today, I mean, everybody's going to go look on your Instagram and, if you have like 500 followers and a couple of pieces of old work, you're not going to make it, right? So these things now matter. And I think it's to look at it as a whole system because word of mouth will always be there. Great. How can you amplify it? How can you also add to it? How can you just make sure that this, works together? So I would say those decisions are different now. We're going after different type of account because obviously we have more people. So we want to make sure that, there's more fuel, obviously, but also the platforms have changed, so I think it's important to adjust to it. So I would say it's important to just reinvent yourself over time. I think that's the key in this industry.
Well, what I'm also hearing from you, and what I think a lot of the folks listening to this should take away from what you just said, is that it sounds to me like, yeah, maybe the stakes are bigger now than they were 10 years ago, but it sounds like you're applying a different level of intentionality around some of the decisions you're making, right? I mean, feast and famine is very common in independent agencies who do business development, and it's always frustrating because it makes your
Mhm.
business feel like a roller coaster.
Yep.
And your opportunities are not as predictable, or you don't seize them maybe as quickly as you might if you were intentional about them. So, would you say that the decisions that you make or your process for making them feels a little bit more intentional now than it used to?
Yeah, I feel so. I feel that the stakes are higher. I feel the size of the client, but also the scope is wider. Like we have integrated production since day one. We've always had production because my partner was a filmmaker, so there was
Hmm.
no way he would have started the agency with me without having a studio.
Right.
We needed to shoot stuff, and so basically we've always been there. But the production has completely changed. I mean, we were doing like 60% of our work was photo and then 40% video at that time, and then eventually move all into video because it was all about web. And then now it's like a third of it is 3D CGI, and then now AI is now taking another portion of it now. So it's about even that is changing itself, and even that, even though we still believe in production, I would say now I think our strength in post production is even more important than production because that's the reality of today's world. You often will work with influencer or content creator things where production is not the most important. It's the pre and the post that becomes the most important. Well, that
Hmm.
whole process has changed completely. I mean,
Hmm.
if I look at one of the campaign we just delivered for Levi's last year, just one campaign, I think we delivered like 600 piece of asset and 400 videos. Just one piece, like it's insane. You
Wow.
would think that 15 years ago, be like, there's no way it's possible. It doesn't feel like.
No, no small agency could handle that. Yeah.
But today you have to. It's part of every single big global brand launch. They need like so many formats and so many. So I think these things you need to adapt to it. But at the same time, it creates a huge opportunity because when you really build that strong and you can provide that trust to the client, they're happy they're staying with you because you're solving a problem. And that's also something, I mean, I'm an ex-client, so that maybe help at one point to
Right.
understand their side of the, if you can really fill a need and be there, to provide really something that's valuable, the rest will follow.
I think I'm curious to get your perspective on how the creative process has been changed from strategy through execution now with the advent of AI and other technologies. Has it changed the way you approach strategic recommendations to the brands you work with, or has it changed their expectations of you as an agency and a studio? And what are those conversations like?
Yes and yes and yes.
Okay,
Because
got
it
it. Fair.
has, I mean, it has, but also it's the, it's like the ability to do now our work with the access to this new technology is great, but it
Hmm.
needs to be contained and used properly at the right moment for the right thing. And for us, we've always, I mean, since day one, I've always believed that the key is like human, the quality of the human is what drives creativity. It doesn't matter what machine you play with. It starts with an idea or with a thought where, and I believe that the place of the human is as strong as it was, even if not stronger now. But we have so many tools to support with. So now our process, our creative process, has been, I mean, changed every couple of years for the last 15 years, of course. But the last one, obviously, I think we've activated more change in the last 12 months than we have in the past because now the research process is different, the testing process is different, the concepting process is different, the pre-production becomes also different, and then also you can also do some, we do some production that are really AI fuel, but then the post-production is extremely also touched by AI. So everywhere in the process, there's things that can be done differently.
Hmm.
So we encourage all of our people to play. We have licensed for every single tool you can imagine to them for to play with in production and strategy and research and account and client and like everything. And we try to make sure that our process is learning as the technology becomes available,
Hmm.
but not to lose who we are and lose ourselves, but really to be at the service of our teams. So we've changed it completely, and then but it's also like you said, it also creates expectation because I mean this, we used to do obviously storyboards, and now storyboards are over. Now you can make everything in in AI, and it
Yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah,
it's great because you can do it. You don't
yeah.
have to go with the illustrator for a day of work, and they used to be working always at night or weekends because it was the last piece of the before the presentations. It was an awful piece of work, but now you can do it. But the problem now is the client sees it and is like, I want it now. It's perfect. This is what I want. And you're like, well, I can't make that. This is a concept, but it looks real,
Uh-huh.
so real that you think it is, but you can't make it because it's AI generated. So why we need to recreate this based on this concept. But now it's so perfect that people attach themselves too much to the concept. Whereas when it was an illustration board, it was easier to have nuances, right?
Interesting.
So that
Yeah.
is one, I would say, one of the biggest challenge we've had in the last few months is really this attachment to concept via AI, or the client that will, play around with the banana on their side and, start creating their own concept and then shipping to you. So this is what I want. And you're like, well, this is
You know
not how it
what?
works.
We get that in the legal industry too. We
Yeah.
get contracts sent to us that were very clearly drafted out of AI and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, just review sections 4 and 10. We think the rest are fine. Do you
Yeah,
now? Do
yeah.
you? Okay, that sounds great.
So yeah, so
Um,
it's a learning on both ways in a sense, but in a general sense, I mean, we can do a lot more uh, and better work in a sense. I find because we flush more things, we spend time where it adds value. You're not wasting again half a day to do an illustration on this, but you're actually thinking of other ideas maybe. And so I feel like there's really a lot of opportunities from it, but it does require a new creative process for sure.
right. How has it adjusted, if it has, the way that you think about your business model? Are you talking to clients differently now about the way you engage with them, or has it had an impact on the way you assess pricing or financial value of your services to the brand? Are you thinking about that differently now than you did a few years ago?
Uh, Yes and no. I mean, we do have. I think our a lot of the pressure that we get from like, oh, it's now AI, so I'm assuming it's going to be a lot cheaper,
Right.
um, is often, well, first the speed. Sometimes they'll expect to be faster, which is not true because you need to be so many iteration that I don't know if it does take less time, but that's to be debated.
Yeah.
But the value, the cost, people think it's all machine done now, so the value is lower. I think this is one of a tricky one. I do feel more of that pressure on larger clients and clients where we do production. On clients where it's only strategy and creative concept, it's more linked clearly to a human ideas. I feel like it's a little less debatable. We usually
Hmm.
are okay with saying, it's actually you can get more options, you can get more work and more details. So it's not about bringing the value, the price down, but more providing more for the same value. But I feel like where there's a lot more pressure on the client side is on the production budgets. So, oh my God, they used to be $1 million for my TV count. Now it's been digital now, so it's 500,000. And now with the content creator, it's like 350 because it's influencer. And now I'm like, well, it's AI, it's going to be $100,000, right? So that's what their expectation is because they've been experiencing budgets going down for the 15 years.
Right.
So you can't blame them for that. But then you're like, it's about questioning, okay, what is it? What are you looking for exactly? Like, what's the level of production you want? What is it? So then we decide that we don't start with the budget, but start with what's the real need that we have. Okay, we need to have these type of different formats. Maybe there is ways to make this very useful, but it can't be everything. And there's a
Mhm.
role for all pieces of content. So I think we try to, it kind of brings new conversations. So we need to make sure our team is super strong in terms of be able to navigate those conversations. But I would say most of the pressure I receive is from production discussions.
Mhm. It sounds to me like the conversations you're having early on with the client or the prospect are starting first with the goal or the value they are expecting to achieve, which it always should have been this way. It just didn't used to be this way with agencies. It was, what are the tactics? And then let's talk about what we think we can accomplish doing those things. Now, it feels to me like it's more important than ever to actually assess the business goals of the
True.
client up front and then figure out how much value you can pack into whatever investment they're willing or able to make, right?
True. And then we also I've always been very distant with the hour model. We don't have a retainer business. We are a 4-day work week. So if you measure me on hour, I'm always worse than everybody else. So I've never
Yeah.
really talked about hours. We've talked about scope, talk about goals, talk about deliverables, talk about things. So we've always been and we've been on the 4-day work week model for 3 years now. So it's something that we've always been very forward and with all the industry about being value driven and value pricing and all of the things that we know. So I wouldn't say I'm like a perfect 10 out of 10 in the value pricing because that's very intense. But I
Hmm.
feel like we're very well positioned that way. And so, you know what, this is what the outcome is. And it's not about the number of hours I put in or he put in or she puts in because it doesn't make any difference. It's creativity. You can have the best idea in like 30 minutes or the worst ideas in 4 days. That
Right.
nothing to do with time input. We're not
Right.
counting potatoes here. So I think this is at the end of the day, this is what we believe in and what we can provide. I would say the AI model now has changed some of this because it's true. Like, for example, we had a big campaign coming up, and then the client just doesn't have the budget to create all the stuff that they wanted. And then,
Hmm.
but we were able to spend time with them and go through all of the archives material and bring up what we thought was actually not so bad and just use AI to recreate some of these things and polish them. So using the original work, so that's clear for the rights, but then
Hmm.
using AI to beautify them and change them a bit. So it became like a complete set of content that fits exactly what they needed for a fraction of the cost. And for
Hmm.
us, no production costs, just time. Perfect.
Hmm.
So in the end of the day, I'm actually quite happy because we made more money on this one. It was more profitable because it's a higher margin product
Yeah.
because it's time, and we deliver on the result. Boom. So there's no loss of revenue in this, in my opinion. I think it's just a better use of it. So I think we need to have these questions, these conversations, and our team needs to be, comfortable with it.
And I think AI is forcing this thought process on actually every knowledge-based business, but agencies especially. And this has really been evident in the conversations that I've had with agency leaders over the last couple of months. Agencies are thinking much more seriously about how they talk about their business model with clients or prospective clients, and also about how they develop their own proprietary solutions and IP and monetize that, which is music to my ears because, Dominic, I've been on that soapbox as an IP
Oh
lawyer
yeah.
for a million years, and agencies, like to roll their eyes about it, but now they're really seeing
Yeah,
the possibilities from a monetization point of view of thinking that way. So I'm here for it personally, but I also recognize that it can be a difficult transition for some agencies who are used to the older ways of pricing and modeling their businesses, right?
true. But I think that in this, I feel like anything else, I think an agency can transform itself one client at a time. It
Mm,
doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be all. Like, it's just like, and I don't remember if it's Blair Enns or somebody that just said that one day, and I was like, whoa, like I'm gonna keep that because it's true. It's like, so you don't have to change everybody. Let's say with this new project or new client coming in, let's start to see different tests with, see how that works. And then eventually second turn and you can roll out to other, and eventually you'll have half of your portfolio that's on the new world. And so I think it's in our business model also the ability to move fast and renewal. And this is not
yeah.
these are like short-term project most of the time. We're not in the movie, we're not in the gaming where you work 4 years on something. Like this is like, you in
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
you know
I love that though. I love that idea of transforming your business one client or one project at a time. That's true. Agencies do have the opportunity to do that if they're systematic about it and intentional about it, right?
it's
It
less
gets back to
scary.
intentionality.
Totally. It's very iterative. I mean, this is the new world. Like we have so many tools or so many new processes. We need to take that from the IT world as well and the software. It's an iteration model. We do something, okay, no, let's change it. Because
Mhm.
there's a lot of moving pieces now more than ever. So I think
Mhm.
it's important to trial and test and learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, from everything you're describing, iteration itself is a growth strategy, is what I'm taking from it.
Totally.
Yeah,
I feel it. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah. And also, I feel like, I don't know about you. I mean, I speak obviously a lot with clients, and my network is very client.
Yeah.
A lot of CMOs and VPs in my own network, and pretty much everybody in terms of AI, they know the broad concepts, but they have zero idea of how to implement any of that. And by the time they learn from it, it's changed already. So just they're
Mhm.
looking for people to like help them. And I think that as an agency, independent agency in the creative world, we can definitely take that role from a creative process. I mean, I'm not talking about the whole business and logistic and all. Like, there's a lot of consultants for that. But I mean,
Yeah.
if we could own that process and say, you know what, I can help us. We can help you just work on that flow of all creative products and creative projects and all work streams, and then we can help put the machine in there, train the people, support them, be there for you. And then obviously we'll be there at the beginning because we need to be speaking brains at the beginning and talking about ideas and concept. And then we'll obviously the machine maybe we'll be less present when the machine comes in, and at the end we'll, but I mean from my experience, you cannot leave the machine start by itself, and you can't definitely not leave it until the end because you may have to correct some major things. So I think it's important. I mean, we had a case recently where we were doing some case, and at the last iteration, how you iterate like 100
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something to get what you want. And at the end, we got almost everything. And then for some reason, the machine changed one face and it put like a celebrity's face on it.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, I cannot imagine like what would have happened if that happened just went out the door. Like, like for some people that use a machine to create content for their, this is like,
Oh my God. Human
they won't,
guardrails, everybody. This is
I
why
know,
you
and they
need
don't
them.
know. So this is a great example of like, this is where it needs to be front and back. It needs to be human,
Mhm.
managed. But yeah,
Mhm.
the machine can play, different types of roles, but
That is crazy. So, all right, since we're talking about humans, what I want to ask you next is about your approach to talent, cultivating it, finding it, growing it, because you can't grow, in my view, as any kind of business, but especially a creative business, without the right talent. And so, are you thinking differently about the people who you want to add in the future, or the types of, I don't know, skills you're looking for or mindsets you're looking for? Has it changed over the years as you've grown?
It's a good question. I don't know if it has changed that much, but I worked in a big corporation before for many years, and I think I had there's always you always can make good out of experiences that are more difficult. And at the end of it, I had a difficult time because it was very much like a big P&L numbers and people were numbers and it was very impersonal as a business. It became all about money and stock and inventory. Like I felt I was like, well, you know what? When I have a business, I'm going to take care of human. I'm not going to take them as numbers. So you're never going to see me talk about head count. To me, that was like the word that I believe that was the evil word.
Yeah.
So when we started the business, we always said human first and second content. That was the mission that we had in our mind because we believe it. And it's still the same today, I feel, even more with machine and technology around it. But I do believe that if you want to be performing in the model of an independent agency, you need to have people that are more autonomous a little bit, a bit more curious. Because I mean, in a large organization, even if you're curious, you're going to be like, no, this is not your job. Somebody else is doing that. In our business, it's like, oh, cool, awesome, take more. You want to do like it's this is to me the attitude and the value system that we've always decided to do because we're like, well, there's stuff I do, and as you grow as an agency, I think the number one thing you need to do is okay, well, I used to do this, now there's somebody else I can take out that. What do I want to do? What am I better at?
Right.
And I can leave that to the new person, right? Or find somebody recruit, or I'm overwhelmed now. So what can I just break from my position and give it to somebody else? That's how you grow an agency.
Hmm.
So I feel like in that mindset, I've always tried to find some people that are curious, hungry, interested in just doing more and doing different things. And on the other side, my partner, Ludwig, was a creative person that was very strong in film, very strong in graphic design, super amazing in retouching. He was just a well-rounded creative, like one of those magic ones,
Hmm.
and very interested in technology on top of it. So he navigated this very well, but he's also always recruited creative that are able to think, of course, be in one very strong skill, but interested in something else. So I'm a graphic designer. I work on think of typography, but oh my God, I love motion. This is amazing. And I have to sit down with a motion designer and we can play like, oh, I have this guy, he's a CGI. This girl, she's a great CGI. She jumps on the team. And then we've always believed in mixing people together. And I think this is where the magic happens. I think we've never been a business of like superstars in one thing, but they cannot work with anybody else. you know,
Right.
the
Right.
awards scene has a lot of those. We don't
Yeah.
we don't hire on egos. If somebody would come in and say, "Well, I have like 15 awards. I've been to Cannes, 7," they're like, "Oh, yeah, cool, good for you. Bye." Not interested. There's no point. We're never gonna be able to work together because it's all knowing all of our team here is like very like collaborative, but also like it's not about I all the time. Like it's important that we all talk about we, and it's all about us, and it's all about this is how you create that collaborative work. And sometimes the best idea will be like, oh my God, that one he sees it differently or she sees it differently because she thinks, again, motion. Oh,
Yeah.
that changes completely the territory we can go. So we need that diversity. I really believe in it. So I feel like these things are more important than anything else. And this will allow us to adapt to, oh, there's a new product here, there's a new technology here. Let's jump on 3D, even though we're losing all the photo business, but it doesn't matter. Let's go for it because it's exciting. And oh, wait, AI is coming. Let's do this now. 4-day work week was like that too. Like, oh, well, there's what could we do better for human in our business? Well, this whole theory of working 5 days and, chilling for two was maybe fine in the industrial age where you have no phone. But now with a phone, then people reach you at night, evening, weekends.
And do.
Maybe you need a better the connection, right? So that's why we went embarking on that journey of 4-day work week. We're going to be innovative in our industry. We want to push the boundaries. There's no reason why somebody's going to have to do it one day. We're not going to
Yeah.
stay like this for another century. So let's start.
Yeah. Yeah. No, really. How did that transition go with your team and with your clients?
I love that question because everybody feel, oh my God, their clients will leave you. They work 5 days a week. And then to be honest, it's the number one false objection. It's so funny because I went there the first thing too. I was like, oh my God, there's no way. They're gonna
Yeah.
dump me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one cares, to be honest. If anything,
Interesting.
most of my clients today, they don't take meetings on Fridays very often. They don't like it. Some of
Yeah.
my clients don't have a no meeting policy on Fridays. That happens too. Um, most of the clients on Friday afternoon, they're gone. Like and then Friday morning, let's let's say it's not the most productive time of the week anyways for any agency. I don't care what size it is.
Really?
So to remove a couple hours on Fridays and gain 4 really good days
Yeah.
is a really good payoff for anybody. And I find that in the world of creation, where again, this is not 2 plus 2 equals 4, but the idea is 2 plus 2 equals 100. That's the idea of creativity, right? I find that I would rather have you 4 days, but super recharged, extremely motivated, and also you want to be off on Friday. You want to take some time, so you're gonna make that happen before the end of
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a really, a project, you give any project to anybody, people wait until the end and you wait until the night before to do it, and the presentation will be finished like an hour before. This is human. We always wait for the pressure at the end instead
Hmm.
of starting very. So it's the same thing for that motivation. I feel like people are actually handling it very well. It's not 100% perfect. Many people of us will start working on Friday a couple hours because we have to want to get ahead of some things, but at least the frame is protecting it.
Hmm.
Clients have accepted it very well. As long as it doesn't affect their project, they're good. And we're like, I mean, it's not like I'm running an emergency room. Like, obviously, like I don't have to be there on Friday. This
Yeah.
unless we have a shoot. Obviously, sometimes we'll shoot Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and of course, then we shoot. Or if
Yeah.
we have a media campaign that starts on a Friday, we'll have somebody look at it for sure. But
Hmm.
on normal basis, we can scope the work. We can make it work so that we can remove the Fridays for most people,
Hmm.
and the work is, well, speaks for itself. It's going well. So I'm not, it's not a big problem.
That's amazing. And I think that it sounds to me though like you were intentional about it, not
Oh.
like let's try it and see what happens. And
No, no, no.
sounds
I
like
read
you
so many books about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thread that feels like it's pulling through everything we're talking about how you've grown Tux is the intentionality behind it. Because from the outside looking in, it could feel very easy, right? Oh, you have a very sexy business, it's very creative, there's a lot of big brands, a lot of, cool projects, and but that's just what we're seeing on the outside. Those things don't just happen, right? And I'm sure everybody listening to this can relate to that. The magic that you are all creating as agencies is not just happening.
Yeah, it's
The
intentional.
awards,
You're right.
the awards come at a very, very um, big delay after all the sacrifices that you've made and the intentional decisions you've had to make along the way in your business to enable you to do that, right?
Totally. And I feel like I always compare creativity or creative agencies with like a garden. Like it's gardening. I mean, the only way you can get some great flowers and great vegetables, you need the best soil. You need proper water. You need good sun, and then
Mhm.
that will bloom and good seeds. And then this will bloom. You can't just pull a flower out. You can't pull
Mhm.
far. You see, the harder you're gonna pull, the worse it's gonna get. Like it's not about that. It's about providing the perfect environment for this to flourish. And I
Mhm.
always feel the same way about any creative concept project. When I see the ideas coming out, the concept, we were like, "Oh my God, how did you think of that? This is crazy. It looks amazing."
Uh-huh.
Well, you need to make sure that person is like supported, motivated, protected, and
Mhm.
it's really important. And I think those things, the 40 work week, the access to technology, but also the protection of it too, all of these things are so important.
Mhm. Let's talk about um, the mindset and the leadership, whether it's within the four walls of the agency or in the industry of the leader, the owner of the agency. You've made some, obviously you have no shortage of things to do in your day, but you've made what seem like some intentional decisions to be involved in the industry in a way that sort of shapes the way that advertising uh,
Hmm.
gets, published and also the way that agencies, grow and are operated. You are on the board of the 4As, which is the leading industry organization in US for ad agencies. And then you this year are on the board of NARB, which is not to get too deep into the weeds, but it is NARB implements a voluntary, self-regulated way of making certain that advertising that gets out into the world follows the laws, doesn't
Hmm.
cause harm, etc. So talk a little bit about the decision-making process to invest your time and energy into doing this kind of work.
It comes in like I would say the two main objectives I have from this is first, I feel like as an entrepreneur, and I think Yvon Chouinard was really good at that on Patagonia when he built like this company. He's like, there is an opportunity to contribute. You know, if you're one person, you have that one body that can move things, you can vote, you can do it fine. If you
Hmm.
have a family of 4 or 5, you can do it as a family. But if you have a group of 100 people, you have power in the community. You have power to make change in industry. You have a role to play if you want to play. So I've always felt my dad was an entrepreneur, and I really felt like being an entrepreneur has you take on a role, and it's your job to move society further in whatever field you feel is the proper for you.
Hmm.
So I was really, really motivated by him and the B Corp movement when we got there in 2017, like a while ago. It's very inspiring. So I feel like let's see how we can play that role, whether it's with the 4-day work week or the way we approach different things. So I feel like in the community, I need to be part of it and try to help as much, not help, but be part of it, part of the
Hmm.
change. And I feel like also I'm not a, well, you can tell from now, but I'm an action kind of guy. So if I feel something needs to happen, like I'd rather do it than learn from
Hmm.
it than just think about it for 4 years and just, imagine what it could be. I'm
Yeah.
going to be in it. And then, so that action mode is really important to me. So whenever there's an opportunity, I'll jump, even though I think I don't have the time for it. I'll make time for it because it's a motivation. I think that's really important. And the second thing is I'm a very curious guy. I
Mhm.
learn from people around me so much. Like I would say I've learned 100 times more than I've contributed to any of these things because this is what kind of like nurture me. So I
Mhm.
feel like it's a privilege to be able to learn from these people, and I feel like people are always better and smarter than me around me, and I feel like there's also a skill that once you accept it, it's also the best skill of a manager. So you need to hire people that are better than you everywhere.
Mhm.
And that's how you build the best team. And you can't be afraid of just, oh, I need to be the top dog. No, no, it's not about that. It's about, okay,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that everybody around me is better. And this way, I think, you grow, you grow. I mean, it's the fun part of it, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think that the ability to impact the policies that, you know, affect the creative product and the ability to put it out into the world is exciting. But I'm a lawyer. It's less common to see it probably amongst leaders who are actually actively running agencies on a day-to-day basis. The 4A's board membership feels more organic to me because you own
Mhm.
an ad agency, right? Or a
Yeah,
marketing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
agency. But NARB is that's very cause driven, right?
Yep,
It's making sure that the work that gets out there in the world doesn't break laws, doesn't hurt consumers, all of that. And so um, that's again intentional, right? Those are intentional decisions that we have to make as leaders about how we spend our time and our money, right?
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agree.
This has been such an awesome conversation about growth from all of the angles, from business operations to business development to talent to leadership. And so I really want to thank you so much, Dominic, for spending time just sharing your story and the Tux journey. Where can people find out more about Tux and all the beautiful work you guys are putting out into the world?
Well, thank you first. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. It's really, it was, I've listened to many of your podcasts and I was like, I can't wait to see her. I haven't seen her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. Of
That's
course.
very complimentary. I appreciate it.
It's nice. It's
Not
nice to,
everybody likes to hear me talk that often, but
oh, I
I'm
like it. I
glad.
like it. No, I like your constant desire to look for innovation in our, what we do, your passion for making it like a product and IP. Like I get that. It's also very important as part of like, the renewing of the agency world and make sure we have like, good business model going forward. So I quite appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so sorry, I forgot the question. They can reach me on LinkedIn or our website
Awesome.
is tux.co. There's nothing
TUX.co, right?
ux.co. Yeah, it's pretty
Got it.
simple. Anyway,
Highly encourage everybody to take a look there. The work is beautiful,
thank
and
you.
I want to thank you for sharing your journey and your story and some of your insights with all of us. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I learned a lot too.
Thank you.
And to the rest of you with us today, thank you so much for joining us, and we will look forward to seeing you all on the next episode. And until then, everybody stay well.